Sales is like a beer wagon. How's that for a metaphor? Okay? You need 4 big, strong Clydesdales to pull your sales process. If you have only 3, it doesn't pull it right. If you have 3 Clydesdales and a pony, it's not going to work. So they all have to be big, strong horses. The first component is a quality product. Now, quality is defined as meeting the needs and expectations of the consumer. If you're selling cars and you're selling it to a college student, and his priorities are, I don't want to put much of my beer money in the gas tank, and I want to get home to see my girlfriend once a month, a 3-year-old economy car is just great. That's a quality product to him. If you're selling a car to a successful, wealthy businessman, he's going to want an imported luxury car to impress his friends and neighbors and himself and everyone. Obviously, the quality level between a 3-year-old economy car and an imported luxury car are quite different, but they're both quality if they're quality to the consumer. How many have heard the statement, sell the sizzle, not the steak? Come on. If you're selling the sizzle and not the steak, you still got to make sure there's a steak behind it. If you don't, it's called fraud. So, quality product is the first ingredient here. The second ingredient, the second horse, is a sales attitude and a company culture. You have to want a sale. You have to appreciate the salesmanship that it's as an important part of your organization as the guy making the tops, as the bookkeeper, as all the other parts. You also have to have the company culture. By that I mean, if the salesperson comes to the fabricator and says, you know, blue's in this year, I can't sell that green anymore. You can't have the fabricator say, hey, I've been doing green for 30 years, I'm not going to change now. You have to have a company culture where all the things are working to make that a quality product. So what can we do to improve our attitude towards sales? I have over 100 tapes I listen to as I travel the Midwest over and over again on sales. And almost every one of them starts with a section on what an honorable profession sales is. You think if we were in a seminar for brain surgeons or rocket scientists or even bus drivers, we'd have to convince the practitioners it's an honorable profession? Well, it is an honorable profession because without the sale, nothing happens. If you don't, you can have the best countertop in the world, but if you don't sell it, that bookkeeper and the fabricator and the purchasing agent, they're all going to lose their jobs. So it's an honorable profession because it's an honorable and necessary profession. Do you have a good product?
Absolutely.
If you keep that attitude, if you have a good product, it's your duty to get it into the hands of the customer who can use it. If you use that attitude, that's your duty to get it, that helps you improve your attitude and what you're doing. Think about I'm sorry, what's your name?
Tony.
Tony, think about a project you did a few years ago and one that you made a particularly good margin on. Okay? You don't have to say it, just, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Does the customer still have the countertop?
Absolutely.
Okay? You still have the money?
I certainly do.
Well, that's the wrong answer, Tony.
I do have the money invested on other products and other sales.
Well, exactly. You've invested it in insurance and rent and salaries and all the things that go into your business. So who got the better deal? You or the countertop, the person with the countertop? Keeping that in mind as you do sales, you'll feel better about the process. I said before, you have to keep the customer's interest first. If you do that, 2 magical things happen. First of all, you feel better about the sales process. You know, if I'm trying to sell you my product, and we quickly come to the, that's not what you need, it's not what you want. If I back away, I feel better, you feel better. So the first magical thing that happens is the salesperson feels better. The second magical thing is, if I back away, he wants my product more. You'll make more sales if you keep the customer's interest first. As a salesperson, one of the things that makes you uncomfortable is if you're not good at overcoming objections, that makes you nervous about the whole process. So you have to work on the weak parts. And one of the ways to strengthen your attitude is to work on the weak parts. And finally, sales is a full-time activity. You don't ask your fabricator to answer the phone or do the bookkeeping. You shouldn't ask your bookkeeper or a receptionist to do sales. If you're asking your bookkeeper to do sales, to her it's a part-time activity. If she has to go get up and greet somebody in the showroom, it's taken her away from how she defines herself. And so to her it's a bother. If the bookkeeper has a stack of bills to enter and a stack of cold calls to make, where's she going? She's going to make those enter those bills because she's accomplishing something. And first of all, it's how she defines herself. But she's, at the end of the day, she's going to have an empty desk and she's done something. She makes those cold calls. People might say no. They might reject her. An employee is always going to do routine, easy tasks instead of hard, necessary tasks. So look at who's doing it, and they're not going to like doing sales because it takes them away from what they have to do. I told you all these horses are interrelated. The best thing that makes your sales attitude better is having a quality product. The third horse is necessary sales skills. You have to be able to overcome objections. You have to be able to prospect. You have to be able to close the sale. You have to do all the necessary parts. We're going to talk about those in a few minutes. Now, the good news is they're not secret. I told you I have over 100 tapes. I do. I have books. I read all the time. I spent almost nothing on those tapes. I went to the library, got them. You go on YouTube. You can download all kinds of wonderful books from the big names, Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and Todd Duncan. There's just a wealth of information. You can turn it into an MP3 and play it on your phone and on your car. The information is easy to get. You don't have to invent it. It's all been invented before. All you got to do is go out and find it. And the fourth horse is a sales process. You have a process for making it top, right, Tony? And it's something like you go out and make a template, and then you put the slab on, and you rough cut and fine cut, and you cut the sink and polish the edge, and then you go out and install it. Like if I asked you, you could come up here, something like that.
It's like you've done this before, yeah.
And if I asked you to come up here, you could do 45 minutes on what the process is. You could tell us all about it. Sales is just like that. You have to have a process. You have to have the steps to follow to get to the top. Now, if you start your top on Monday morning, by Tuesday afternoon or however your process is, you have a top. Sales isn't quite like that in that I can start the process on Monday morning and do everything wrong and still get a sale by 11 o'clock. Or I can do everything right and get to Friday and never make a sale. So it's a little less definite than making your top, but it's still a process. If you do the right things at the right times, more sales will come.